to the world. So we're not of, we're not out of, but we're sent into. That's the how. You say, well, that's fancy prepositions, but what do you mean by that? Well, number one, you're not of it. You're distinct. You're separate. Jesus is saying, why would anyone believe that I had a mission and that I accomplished my mission if the ambassadors that I've sent into the world, there is little or no discernible difference between their lives and the lives of everyone else in the world? If you're not distinct, if you're not different, if you're not salt, if you're not light, if you're not standing out, then you cannot change the world. If you're of the world, you can't change the world. And I remember when David Kinnaman wrote this book called Unchristian, and some of the research in that book is starting to get questioned, and I don't know what you want to make of all that, but the basic thesis of the book was that as he began to interview born-again Christians and non-born-again, so believing people and non-believing people, he noticed that there was no discernible difference between their lifestyles. That born-again Christians had just as much sex outside of marriage, just as much filthy language, just as much divorce and adultery, just as much everything as a non-believing person. And like I said, some of that research is coming under question, but the point still stands. You cannot be of the world and change the world. You can't be just like the world and at the same time be on mission. Jesus is saying there's got to be separation. There's got to be something different. And it used to be in the Bible Belt that you could be of the world and still have some degree of Christian influence. But as Dorothy said, we're no longer in Kansas. Right? Things have changed. I don't know if you've been watching, but Western culture has had an identity crisis, and Christianity has lost. No longer can you just kind of be like the world and still have some semblance of Christianity. Used to, our culture had the categories, certain intellectual categories for the gospel to kind of take root. I don't know if you've tried to share the Lord with anyone lately, or if you've ever done any kind of evangelism any time lately, but those categories no longer exist. Our culture is drifting more and more and more away from what Jesus taught and who Jesus was, and that gospel, that kind of cultural Christianity is fading and something else is taking its place. And so it's more important than ever for us to not be of the world if we're going to be changing the world. You've got to be separate. But at the same time, Jesus says, not only are you not of the world, neither are you out of the world. Okay, so there's no such thing as being protected in the Christian bubble and being on mission at the same time. You can't be out of the world and at the same time be on mission. Instead, you've got to be sent into the world. And what is Jesus saying? He's saying people, they swing to either side of the pendulum. Certain people swing to this side of the pendulum where they're not of the world and they're completely holy and they're protected in this Christian bubble, and it's a kind of a judgmental attitude, and I don't want anything to do with the world, and I'm not going to have anything to do with anyone who is any kind of ungodly or anything different than me. If they have a different belief or different lifestyle, I don't want anything to do with them, and they isolate themselves, and Jesus is saying you'll never be on mission if you do that. And then there's others who get on this other side of the pendulum who are in the world, and hey, I drink a few Crown and Coke just to get a hearing with the gospel, and it's just, I just slept with her once or twice. I know sooner or later she'll be open to the gospel. It's that kind of living in the world, thinking that somehow I'm going to get a platform. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but you get too associated to the world and then you lose your influence. And Jesus is saying, if you would just strike the balance, you'd change the world. But none of us do. And as I have been watching it, it seems to be almost generational. For young people, there's this attraction to the world. You're seduced by the world, and yet you have this Christian influence, and you want to make an impact, but you sell out. And then for older adults, you lived in the world long enough to realize there's nothing good in it, and so you've almost isolated yourself. You've put yourself in the bubble, and Jesus is saying you cannot be on mission in either one of those camps. You've got to be deeply engaged in people's lives. You're not out of the world, you're into the world. You're deeply engaged. You've made yourself vulnerable. You've acted like Christ. Christ left heaven, he emptied himself, he came to earth, he got involved in the mess, and Jesus is saying, in the same way, I want you to get out of your ivory tower, get out of your Christian bubble, and get involved in the mess of other people's lives. I want you to be vulnerable. I want people to be able to test your patience. I want people to be able to take from your wallet. I want people to be able to take, it's going to cost you to be on mission, but the only way way that you're going to change the world is to move beyond this sense of, well, I'm tolerant, and well, I'm accepting, and well, I'm not going to do anything about it, but I'm not going to get in it. And to move from tolerance to touch, where you get involved, you expose yourself, you become vulnerable, and when you do that, you'll change the world. You'll change your city. That's what CWJC is. That's what going on these trips is. It costs you, but that's what it takes in order to be on mission. It'll cost your reputation. It will, especially in this climate, it'll cost you financially. It'll cost you time. But you cannot be on mission unless you're not of the world, not out of the world, but worked into the world.